Hola, my name is Carla Rodriguez Sanchez and I'm a Spanish paddle player living in Denmark. So I started playing paddle when I was around 8 years old. Me and my family, like my parents, my sister and I, we became members of a tennis and paddle club. The name is Carnaval. It's in a small beach town. It's called Mera in La Coruña. It's a beautiful outdoor club with 6 tennis courts and 3 outdoor paddle courts. And it's 5 minutes from my grandparents' house, so basically me and my sister would just spend our childhood summers just running around the club and just playing with our friends. We started with joining the tennis summer camps, but as soon as we were done with that, we would just grab a paddle racket and some balls and just wait outside the paddle courts until the adults were all done playing, so we can just, even if it was a minute or two, if we could just jump on court and start hitting some balls, that's all we wanted. And it was a very social club for both adults and kids. So from a very early age, paddle was never like an individual or like a couple sport for me. It always involved a community and a team. I was very lucky that in my home club, Carnaval, they used to hold tournament. It was called Andrés Soto Muñiz. And it was an amateur tournament, but they will invite professional female players for like an exhibition match the last 2 days of the tournament. So me and my friends, we were 8, 9 years old, and we will be the ball kids kind of bothering the professional paddle players, asking for autographs and stuff. And it was the first time that I saw female players play at a very high competitive level. And back in the day, it wasn't as professionalized as it is right now, but these girls, one way or the other, lived from paddle. So it's players like Araceli Montero and Iciar Montes, Paula Hermida, that kind of paved the path for the female professional players nowadays. And I remember my friends, they want to be professional football players or professional tennis players. And at such an early age, for me, I want to be a female paddle player, and I can be one. I also saw back in the day, it was called Pro Paddle Tour instead of World Paddle Tour, so it was basically a different circuit before World Paddle Tour was born. And they came to play in La Coruña, in my city, and I was also a ball kid. I was probably around 10 years old, and it was the first time that I saw players like Lamperti and Vela, Juan Mieres, Juan Martín Díaz. And it was amazing to see them hitting por tres and just playing at such a high level paddle. And then I remember going back to training, and we didn't even know how to hit a forehand, but we wanted to practice por tres and run out of the court, and we just wanted to be like them. When I was around 12 years old, the owner of the club, his name is Ronald Alvarez, he's a really good coach, and he worked for the Spanish Federation for a couple of years. He decided to create the first youth competitive group in the club. There was a couple of tennis competitive groups, but he really wanted to create a paddle one. So it was 5 of us, 4 older boys and myself, so I really needed to work very hard to stay in the group and feel like I could belong in the team. And it was really good what he did, because we wouldn't just train on court like technique, how to hit the different shots, forehands, bandejas, bajadas, but also we spent so many hours off court. So we will spend hours just analyzing games and learning about the tactics, like why paddle is this way, or why do we do this, positioning on the court. So from a very early age, it kind of gave us a different view of what the game of paddle was. And not just that as players, but he will also, the training with him will be for free, but in return, we will have to help him and be assistant coaches when he will give lessons to adults. So he will give us, homework. So I will go home and he will give us, imagine that you have a group of 4 players with this level and you want to train offensive work. So then I will have to go home and work on that, think about what I will do, how I would structure the lesson. And then the next day we will have to share it with the group and discuss. So, at such an early age, 12 years old, I was giving lessons to 4-year-old parents, and thinking about that now, even nowadays, I still use that methodology. So it was, back in the day, it felt like homework, but nowadays it's like he really opened up my view of how to be a coach and how to be a player and how to understand the sport in general. It was thanks to him and to that group that we started to compete first within the region, like locally, and then also nationally. So in Spain, we had the youth Spanish championships, and it was around 10 tournaments a year, more or less, all around Spain in different cities like Madrid and Malaga and Valencia. And this is when I really have to give a big thanks to my parents and especially to my dad, because it was him, the first one that would just grab the 5 of us, put us in a big van and just drive us all around Spain and take care of us and kind of act a little bit as the manager, coach in the early stages of our paddle careers. And in these tournaments, it will be a big paddle party for us because it was just the weekend where we will compete, but also we will meet with players from all around Spain that share the same passion as us, which was just play paddle and have fun. And it was one of the first times I remember my first final. I played against Ari Sanchez. I had her cross court. I played on the left side, and she beat me, surprisingly. But it was a great experience, and knowing that now she's the #1 in the world, it's just amazing. And it was good to go with a team because even though we play with our own partner, we will just support each other, and it was just an amazing feeling to know that you belong to a team. It was in these tournaments where we will start hearing the name LeBron, right? Like this kid, LeBron, he's so good. And I remember it was like, oh, LeBron is playing in court #1, and everyone will go and watch him play. And at such an early age, you could tell he was special. He had something about himself, his attitude, like he wanted to be a #1, and he was going to be a #1. And knowing how he changed the game of paddle, and he's been #1 for 3 years in a row, and just know that I watched him play. I was there watching him grow and become a better player at the ages of 12, 13, 14. So besides playing paddle, I also play several other sports growing up, such as football and volleyball. I was a very active kid, so I felt like I always had to be doing some kind of sport. And it was a little bit because of this, and also thanks to my dual citizenship that I moved to the US when I was 16 years old. My mom's side of the family is from the US, so I have American citizenship. So I finished my last 2 years of high school, and I also did my 4 years of university in the US, in Florida. So during those years, I stopped playing paddle. I didn't really have the possibility to continue because paddle is such a small sport in the US, and I think the closest paddle courts were like 6 hours or 8 hours away from where I was. So I kind of mainly focused on finishing my career, like studying and also playing football during university. So paddle became much more like as a hobby. I would play a couple of times a year, maybe when I was in Spain during the summer holidays. But I did have the opportunity to play a couple of times when I was in Miami. I did join a clinic with Miguel Lamperti. We both were sponsored with the same brand. So it was really cool to spend the weekend with him and kind of get to know him a little bit better outside the professional setup. And thanks to these couple of times that I played in Miami, I got to know some people from the US Federation. And they selected me to be part of the US team during the World Cup qualifications in 2016. So I went and played in Belgium. Unfortunately, we lost the final, so we didn't make it to the World Cup that year. But we had a second chance during the World Cup in 2018. We did qualify that year, so I went with the team to Paraguay. And I think that experience was amazing. I obviously wasn't really ready to compete at that level because I didn't have the possibility to train as much as I would like to. But it was amazing to feel how much paddle had grown since I last played and how professionalized it was. And thinking about it now, I think it was like it was a little bit of a turning point where I thought, what if I would have kept going, or what if I would have spent more hours and more time competing? And it made me really give myself a second chance and kind of the thought of I wasn't done with the sport, and I really wanted to give it a second try. After graduating from university in the US, I decided to come back to Europe. me and my boyfriend decided to go to Australia. We both love the outdoors, such as activities like skiing and surfing and hiking. So we really wanted to spend kind of like a gap year where we just traveled around and did some of the activities that we love. So we went to Australia with nothing. As soon as we got there, we bought a van and we just traveled around for 3 months. It was super good activity, just hiking in the national parks, just taking it easy, doing a lot of surfing and just enjoying the simple life. After we were done, we came back to Europe and we decided it was the winter season, so we decided to move to the French Alps and lived in a ski resort for 5 months. We worked in a chalet and just did a lot of skiing and enjoyed the outdoors and in the mountains. And unfortunately, that experience had to be cut short because of COVID-19. So we returned back to Spain for those crazy couple of months where everything was closed. And after the lockdown, my boyfriend, who is half American and half Danish, decided to come to Denmark and visit his family. So when he was here, he got a job that he was really interested about and really liked. So he decided to stay here. I was doing a master's online from home, but I think it was around September 2021, I decided to come and visit him. And my idea was to come for a week or two, and a year and a half later, I'm still here. So I guess I really enjoyed Denmark. So it was about like the first month that I moved here, I randomly ran into Pro Padel in Nordhavn, and I met Jan Peterhoff. And I have to say that I'm super thankful to him because he really welcomed me with open arms and introduced me to the Padel community in Denmark. And it was thanks to him that he invited me to join some training sessions in Pro Padel, and that's how I started to train with Lina and Liu, Maria Rasmussen, Maria Jaspers, and some of the top female players in Denmark. Very early on, I also met Jan Larsen from Racket Club, and he supported me from everything that I needed. He was there to help me, so I also want to give him a big thank you. So the first 6 or 8 months that I was here, while I was working on my master's, I just kind of gave some lessons and played for fun, not really competing during those months. So, and it wasn't until about a year ago, like June, July of 2022, where I had a conversation with Mark Muller. He told me that he really believed that I should give it a try and go for it and start training and competing. So I asked him to be my coach, and we sat down and make a plan to see how we could build on my potential and develop more as a player. And thanks to him, and also thanks to the support of Racket Club, especially Jacob Ostekor, that they allow me to keep working as a coach, but also prioritize my paddle career and traveling internationally. And in 2023, at the beginning of the year, I partnered up with Gitte Haxen, the #1 player in Denmark, and we have big ambitions for this year. Our goal is to play nationally, but mostly focus on international tournaments in the Nordics, mostly Sweden, but also playing the A1P circuit around Europe and some WPTs as well. So in order for us to do this, it's super important the help of the sponsors, and I'm really thankful to Cuera. It's amazing to partner up with such a good brand that supports players that really want to live from this sport. Not just that, but they also have amazing on and off court clothing. It's one of the best clothes that I've tried for paddle. Super lightweight, and I just feel so good and powerful on the clothes. And then when I'm traveling around, being able to use their off court clothing as well is just really cool. And in terms of my ambitions for this year and for next year, I think I don't want to put a specific number in terms of ranking or specific results. I think the idea is just to keep developing as a player, keep pushing on my potential. I think I still have a lot to give in the sport. Keep working daily on becoming a better player on and off the court. And seeing what that means in terms of results. Of course, I want to compete much more internationally. join some of the international circuits such as A1P and WPT and see what the kind of take it as it comes and see what that means in terms of results.